Over the last couple of years, I've literally spent thousands of hours with ChatGPT. And on this video, I want to show you my favorite workflow that's helped me with my business, with my life, with my app, with my community, and actually building stuff and creating value as opposed to just having conversations and treating it like a glorified Google search engine. What's up, guys? My name is Nico Rapclis. We're all about helping utilize AI to build your business, to build your life, to think better, to reprogram your subconscious, to shift your identity, to become the best version as you possibly can. So, without further ado, let's dive into this. So, one of the things that I want to share right away is that one of the best things that you can do with AI, as opposed to just like typing it out, saying, "Hey, chat, what's the weather?" Right? That's very simplified, right? And that honestly kind of takes a little while. And that's what most people are utilizing ChatGPT as, like a glorified search engine, when I've used it in a completely different way. And I want to show that to you. And again, towards the end of this video, I'll also share with you basically like my favorite prompt that I've ever utilized, that I basically use every single day, that just gives me the best output possible. So with that being said, is like, you got to consider and remember and remind yourself always is that like best inputs equals best outputs. Garbage in, garbage out. Beauty in, beauty out. Right? So it's all about the context. It's all about the inputs that you're putting in. And so one of my favorite tools, I'll continue to mention this as long as they're a company, Whisper Flow. So if you hold the function key down, now I can just start talking about anything and everything. Right? And so that is really cool. And when I let go of the function key, boom, it just types it out. So that's really nice. And why is that really nice? Well, it's really important to, like I mentioned, give as much context as possible. And so when you are typing, if you are typing things out, there's a disconnect from your thoughts and your ideas to when it actually comes out and you're typing it out. Plus, it's really slow. Plus, from an energetic standpoint, which we talk about all the time on this YouTube channel, because we're all spiritual beings, right? So we have to be able to download our brain into ChatGPT so that we can give it as much context as possible so that it can understand us the most and give us the most context. Think about it as building a relationship with anybody. If you just gave them a quick like, "Hey, how are you? How's the weather today?" Like, that doesn't give them much context to understanding who you are, what you're about, what your goals are, what your desires are, what your passions are. So the more that you can get to know somebody, the more that they can help you, right? If you give them, "Hey, I'm going through this thing and it's a challenging thing, and I had this, situation with a relationship and it made me feel this way, and here was all the context, here was all the details, and I'm looking for some advice from you because of the fact that you're a relationship expert." Like, if I was talking to a relationship expert, that would give them so much more context so that they could give a proper response, right? So it's the same thing with ChatGPT, because it's literally the smartest thing in the world. Like, if you try to compete on intellect and just pure intelligence, you're not going to win at all. Like, information is simply a commodity now. You have access to any information. It's just a matter if you want to pull that information out. So I love using Whisperflow because then I can just have conversations with it, and it also simultaneously helps me with my communication skills. Right? I've become a 10 times better communicator because of the fact that I'm just conversating with chat. It's allowing me to flesh out my ideas even more, and so it's really, really powerful. So that's point number one, is utilize something that will help you just communicate and everything, get everything out of you so that you can give as much context to AI while working on your communication skills, because that's going to be, bar none, the best skill that you can continue to cultivate as AI develops, because that's going to be the one thing that separates all of us, is we're going to be able to communicate at a higher level. And the people that are just giving, "Hey chat, what's the weather?" They're going to be miles behind all the people that are utilizing this to be a better communicator, to give it more context, to get it to know better, get chat to know you better, and then from there, it's just going to be able to help you so much more. So really what I want to do here on this video as well, I want to give you two things. I mentioned I want to give you a prompt that is one of my favorites that I practically use every single day. And then I want to give you a workflow that has 10x everything as well. So I personally use my iPhone for most of the things. In fact, that's what I'm filming this video on right now. So I can't really show you right now. But what you can do, and this is really, really powerful in terms of like the whole conversation around context, is like if you could just transcribe everything that's going on in your life and then you just feed that to chat and then you can start having conversations around that, that is ideal, because that is the most robust context that you could possibly give AI. You know, it's great that if I come on here, I hold the function key, I start talking about my life, I tell it, hey, here's my goals, here's my aspirations. You know, on a previous video a couple of days ago, we talked about Mark Benioff's 5-step approach to AI that he's used to build Salesforce, a $35 billion a year company. And it was like, what is my vision? What are the big goals? What are my priorities in those goals? What is my budget, my time, my energy, my financial budget for all of these priorities? What's going to be something that's going to stop me with hitting all these priorities, and how will I know when I've actually hit all of these goals and priorities and visions? So it's like I can give as much context to that as possible. So there's kind of two approaches I shared on this video. Is that like I can answer those questions, and that's amazing, and I'll just speak it out and like hold the function key with whisper flow and just share and share and share and share. And I mean, talk for 5, 10, 15 minutes even, right? And that's amazing. Okay, that's kind of like level 1 of this. Level 2 of this is that the more context that I can give it over time, and that's why I would highly recommend, even though I've been utilizing this for a couple of years, I'm going to continue to utilize it, and it's going to get to know me better and better. Because, you know, think about with any type of relationship. Do you have a 20-minute conversation with somebody and then they know you? Of course not. I mean, they know you to a degree, but you know, how many times you've been in a relationship, you're a year, 2, 3 years in, and you're both still finding out stuff about each other, because you just can't know about everything about each other until you continue to spend more and more time. So the more conversations you have, the more it gets to know you, the more context it has on you. So what I even did in that video, as opposed to just giving as much context as possible as it pertains to those 5 questions that I just shared, is I just asked chat, like, hey, chat, based on everything you know about me, answer these questions for me. That's one of my favorite prompts, okay? And that wasn't my favorite prompt, but I'll share that one here in a sec. But that is, chat, based on everything you know about me, tell me about me. Answer these questions. Do this, like, based on everything you know about me. And I think that's just like one of the coolest prompts, because you just have to tell it, hey, here's what I have for you. Go do it. As opposed to like just expecting chat to do things, right? You have to communicate to it, right? I say him, her, it, screen, whatever it is. Okay? So you have to get really good at communicating, and you do it over time. You continue to communicate, but the more that you communicate to it, the more it knows you, the more it can start answering the questions for you. Now, that's kind of level 2, where you just continue to give it so much information over time. And number 3 that I absolutely love is you just record stuff, and then you transcribe it, and then you paste it in here. And so a really cool way to do that is you do it on your iPhone. I'm sure Android has a feature similar to this, but on an iPhone, you can use the voice memo app, you record it, and then you hit done. And I've done this, I mean, my voice memos are probably the thing that holds the most memory in my phone at this point. Maybe not, like obviously videos and photos are probably there, but voice memos is coming up close to them. And so I record a lot of things, especially if I'm having a really good conversation with somebody, if I'm at an event, if I'm, you know, anywhere, right? And I see something that's important and I'm like, I want to feed this into chat, then I record it, especially when I go to events. And here's a little hack. So I go to a lot of events, I learn a lot, I retain a lot of information, but I can't get everything, right? So when I go on an event, so like for example, I went to an event a few weeks ago, I spoke on the panel, and I got to listen to several speakers that were really good at selling. And so they were pitching their offer, and so I recorded that whole thing. And so on top of me like listening there, being there, and getting to, you know, understand like their offerings and their products and their story and all that kind of stuff, I also recorded the whole thing and I transcribed it, and the voice memos app does that automatically. So all I got to do is just go in there, copy transcript, and then you just bring it over to chat and you paste it in. But here's what's cool. When someone's educating you and giving you information and saying, hey, here's what I do with my client. Here's the 3-step process and here's the framework. What you can do, like that doesn't, like when you're listening to that, that is just kind of like general advice, right? But the way I look at AI is that it's if you can give it as much context as possible, it can give you personalized context and advice and direction, right? So this this event that I was at, I'm thinking about two of the speakers. One was talking all about high ticket sales. The other one was talking about throwing profitable events. And so they were given like templated stuff that's worked for their clients. They give their structure, their framework, and that's amazing. But it doesn't really have too much weight on my particular situation because it's not tailored to me. So what instead I do is I copy that transcript from what I recorded and I paste it into chat, and then I'd be like, hey chat, based on what you know about me and based on the goals that I have, that I want you to tailor this talk to me so we can put together a customized game plan so that I can go out there and run my high ticket sales, or I can go throw a profitable event. And then from there it goes, brrr, here's your game plan. And again, as I've mentioned on a lot of my YouTube videos, and I'll continue to share on my YouTube videos, is that it's not about just like one thing. It's about continuing to workshop it with chat and just think about it as your thought partner. You are always going to be the thought leader because you're the one driving the conversation. You're the one leading the conversation. You are the one that's guiding, I already said that, but guiding the conversation. You are the thought leader. AI is your thought partner, right? So you have to guide it. You're the one that's communicating and building your communication skills and giving it a lot of context. And then from there, it's like, okay, boom. Think about it as like a high-level VA. I think about it like that. Like it can do whatever you want it to, but you have to give it as much context as possible. And one of the best ways is to just take a transcript of what you wanted to learn, throw it in there, and as you continue to have more conversations, it's going to tailor everything to you as you continue to give it more context, right? Okay, so with all that being said, that's like my workflow. I really enjoy that, and just having conversations, working through, workshopping a lot of things. That is my favorite workflow. Now, as it pertains to one of my favorite prompts, if not my favorite prompt that I use literally every day, it's when I want to break things down so that my brain can really internalize them and take action and just seep them deep into my subconscious, okay? And so I guess I'll just pull up this screen again and I'll show you exactly what it is. So I particularly do this like on Bible stacks, anytime I'm reading things. I shared it on I think it was yesterday's video when I talked about David Bayer and how I internalize the book that he writes and all these, different, every book, and anytime I'm trying to learn things. So whether it's like I go to an event and I copy the transcript, here's the prompt that I usually go with. Hey chat, based on this prompt right here, or based on this, I'm basically wanting to show people on my YouTube video that what is my favorite prompt? And as you know, we do this mostly with the Bible stacks, but anytime I'm learning stuff, this is usually the prompt that I do. So let's just say that I read the book Think and Grow Rich. Okay, let's just go that way. So based on Think and Grow Rich, everything you know about the book Think and Grow Rich, I want you to give me a summary, a breakdown, key lessons, action items. I also want you to break it down in story format with simplified language and metaphors. I also want you to break it down into a 5-year-old language. I want you to directly apply it to my life and where I can take action on it and get the most out of it. And at the end, I also want you to give me a short quiz so I can really retain this information. Does that make sense? Okay, so you can see it's not like just a quick little prompt, but basically as this types out is, I'm looking for, give me a summary, a breakdown, key lessons, action items. Also break it down to me in story format with simplified language and metaphors, 5-year-old language, so it's so much more simplified, direct application to my life, and then give me a quiz at the end so that I can retain the information, okay? So as you can see here, summary, key lessons, action items, story format, simplified version, explain it to me like I'm 5, personal application, identity upgrade, rewrite the lesson, 1-minute retention script, and then quiz. Okay. So if you guys do want this specifically, just comment prompt, and then I'll put it. I'll give it to you guys. So why this prompt works now. Okay. So then you can see like Here's the summary. Here's the key principles. Here is the actionable breakdowns. Example of 1, burning desire, action step. Write your one clear, measurable vision statement for the next 12 months. Read it morning and night with emotion and visualize it as already real. And that's in fact, that's basically just a vision espresso right there, a very simplified vision espresso, which I'll explain here in a second. But then you get story version, because our brains think in stories so much more. So it's so much more powerful to have stories and have metaphors, because it just helps us think and retain things easier. Explain it to me like I'm 5, so it's so much more simplified, and it's also kind of funny and it helps you remember things better. So your thoughts equal seeds, your actions equal water, your belief equals sunlight, result equal the fruit. Okay. All right. So you kind of get it, but it didn't go into a quiz or anything or direct application. But yeah, you guys kind of get the gist, right? Because like if you use that prompt, like magic comes out. And again, it's not about just getting one result out of it. It's about continuing to have conversations with it and workshop. Because like from here, I would go, okay, awesome, that's great. And then I would give more context to my life and say, all right, let's talk about a direct life application that we can put into this. And then I want you to give me a quiz, because it obviously didn't give me that. So again, you take the lead, you give context, you lead the conversation so that chat can be your thought partner. Okay. And then coming back to this whole thing that I was just mentioning, write your one clear, measurable vision statement for the next 12 months, read it out loud, so on and so forth. Well, we have our Vision Espresso app. This is the page that everyone starts on. And in fact, you can take your vision quiz to help you understand where your vision is, where you're clear, where you're stuck, how to shift it very quickly. Think about it like your FICO credit score for your vision and your clarity and your goals. So from there, then you can create a custom audio from your future self. It's in your voice, has emotional frequencies, the whole shebang. So it's really cool. Then you listen to that every day. It starts seeping into your subconscious, and it's really powerful. So that's what I got for y'all. Thanks for watching this video. Links are down in the video description. I appreciate you. Let me know what you got most out of this. Let me know if you want the AI prompt, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.